There's a question I've often wanted to ask a woman, whether she's ever fantasized about me. It's a thought that lingers in the back of my mind like a flickering candle, warm, inviting, but always just out of reach. I can't help but feel a mix of curiosity and apprehension. How am I perceived? Is there a possibility of mutual attraction? Yet, despite these questions dancing in my thoughts, I've never summoned the courage to voice them. The idea of asking this feels too forward, too intimate, especially when our connection is still unfolding. I imagine the conversation might go something like this. I approach her, perhaps in a casual setting, and with a hopeful smile, I ask, "Have you ever fantasized about me?" It sounds absurd in my head, and I can already picture her reaction, her eyes widening, a nervous laugh escaping her lips, or worse, an awkward silence hanging in the air. The tension in those moments is palpable, and I can already feel the relationship fracturing under the weight of my question. Instead, I focus on building genuine connections, letting things unfold naturally. I've come to understand that the delicate nature of attraction and intimacy requires time and space to grow. I want to foster an environment that is respectful and comfortable, where feelings can develop organically, free from pressure. This isn't to say I don't sometimes let my mind wander, envisioning scenarios where she might think of me in a more romantic light. It's natural, I suppose, to have those thoughts. I just prefer to keep them tucked away, hidden in the recesses of my mind. Every time I see her, whether it's at work, during social gatherings, or simply crossing paths at the coffee shop, I find myself analyzing her expressions and gestures, searching for signs of mutual attraction. There are moments that give me hope, an accidental touch while passing a drink, her laughter at my jokes lingering longer than necessary, or the way her eyes seem to sparkle when we talk about shared interests. But those moments can be deceiving, easily explained away by circumstance or friendship. Our interactions are filled with a comfortable familiarity. We share stories, joke about the mundane, and enjoy each other's company. Yet, there's always this invisible barrier, a line I'm hesitant to cross. I wonder if she senses it too. Do we both feel the tension, or is it just my imagination running wild? I often catch myself daydreaming about her, fantasizing about what it would be like if we were to explore the depths of our connection further. Then there are the nights when I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying our conversations in my mind. I think about her smile, the way her laughter echoes in my ears, and the moments when our eyes lock, creating a spark that feels electric. In those quiet moments, I imagine what it would be like to express my desires openly, to ask her if she has ever entertained the thought of us together. I wonder how she would react. Would she blush? Would she laugh? Or would she reciprocate, revealing her own hidden fantasies? Despite the allure of such thoughts, I always reel myself back. The risk of discomfort is too great, and I value our connection too much to jeopardize it with a question that might feel too personal, too intrusive. Instead, I choose to savor our interactions, letting them bloom like flowers in spring. There's beauty in taking things slow, in allowing the relationship to unfold at its own pace, without the weight of expectation. Over time, I've learned to appreciate the small moments. Like the time we went hiking together. The sun was shining, and the air was crisp as we walked along the trail, our laughter mingling with the sounds of nature. She looked radiant, her hair catching the sunlight as we paused to take in the view. In that moment, I felt an undeniable connection, a sense of intimacy that transcended words. I wanted to reach out, to express everything I felt, but I remained quiet, content to simply enjoy the experience. As we sat down on a rock to rest, I watched her as she sipped her water, her cheeks flushed from the exercise. I wondered if she felt the same warmth in her heart that I did. Perhaps she, too, had moments of curiosity about our relationship. But then again, maybe she didn't. The uncertainty lingered like a shadow, but I chose to focus on the joy of our friendship, letting the possibilities simmer in the background. The seasons changed, and so did our interactions. We shared more experiences, movie nights, game nights, and spontaneous outings. Each moment felt significant, a thread weaving our lives together in ways I hadn't anticipated. Yet, the question remained unanswered, lingering just beneath the surface like a secret we both knew but had yet to acknowledge. I often found myself in situations where the topic of relationships would arise. Friends would share their stories, recounting their own fantasies and crushes. I would listen intently, nodding along, but internally I was always reflecting on my own situation. I wanted to share my thoughts, my desires, but the fear of crossing that invisible line held me back. I became an observer in my own life, watching as others explored their connections while I hesitated on the sidelines. Then came the night of the party, a gathering at a mutual friend's house. The atmosphere was lively, filled with laughter and music as we mingled among familiar faces. I watched her from across the room, illuminated by the soft glow of the string lights hanging above. She was talking to a group of friends, her laughter ringing out like music. There was something captivating about her in that moment, something that stirred something deep within me. I made my way over, the crowd swirling around us as I approached. Our eyes met, and I felt that familiar spark again. It was as if time slowed for just a moment, the noise fading into the background as we locked onto each other. I smiled, feeling a rush of excitement mixed with nerves. I wanted to reach out, to bridge the gap between us and finally express the unspoken question that had lingered for so long. As the night went on, I found myself stealing glances at her, each look igniting a spark of hope. Maybe this was the moment. Maybe in the warmth of this lively atmosphere, I could find the courage to ask her what had been on my mind. I could picture it vividly, the moment we shared, the connection deepening as I revealed my curiosity, my desire. But each time I opened my mouth to speak, the words fell flat in my throat, swallowed by the fear of rejection and the potential awkwardness that might follow. Instead, I took a step back and decided to focus on enjoying the party. I chatted with friends, shared stories, and laughed at jokes. I watched as she moved through the crowd, effortlessly connecting with those around her. It was in those moments of laughter and connection that I realized something profound. Perhaps I didn't need to rush things. Maybe I could let the question linger a bit longer, allowing the connection we had to grow deeper before testing the waters of intimacy. As the night wound down, people began to say their goodbyes. I could see the faint glow of streetlights outside as I stood at the door, feeling a sense of comfort wash over me. She was getting ready to leave too, and as she approached, I felt a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The air was thick with unspoken words, and in that moment, I knew I had to make a choice. I could either take the plunge and ask her the question that had haunted me for so long, or I could choose to savor the moments we had shared, allowing our connection to deepen naturally. I chose the latter. There was a beauty in the uncertainty, in the slow unfolding of our relationship. I smiled at her and she returned the smile, her eyes sparkling with warmth. In that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. Walking away from the party, I felt lighter. I had resisted the urge to rush things, to force a conversation that might have changed everything. Instead, I chose to focus on the genuine connection we shared. I realized that sometimes, the unasked question holds more weight than the spoken one. It allows the mystery to linger, creating a sense of intrigue that can enhance our relationship rather than jeopardize it. In the following weeks, I continued to nurture our friendship. I found comfort in the little moments we shared, the laughter, the shared stories, and the quiet understanding that hung in the air. I discovered that I didn't need to rush toward an answer to my question. The connection we had was genuine and meaningful, and it deserved the space to grow without pressure. With each passing day, I became more comfortable in my skin, allowing myself to embrace the possibility of something deeper without needing to define it right away. I found joy in the simplicity of our interactions, knowing that the question would reveal itself in due time. And maybe, just maybe, she had her own thoughts and fantasies that mirrored mine. As the seasons continued to change, I felt a sense of hope blossoming within me. I knew that the question would always linger in the background, but now, it felt less like a burden and more like an invitation to explore the depths of our connection. In choosing to let things unfold naturally, I discovered the beauty of taking my time, allowing our relationship to evolve at its own pace. And so, the unspoken question remained, nestled comfortably in the fabric of our friendship, a thread that tied us together in ways that words couldn't fully capture. In the end, it was about more than just asking whether she had ever fantasized about me. It was about embracing the journey we were on, savoring the moments we shared, and trusting that the answers would come in time.